Hello everybody, and welcome to Whiz, your family-friendly podcast where we discuss D&D Onslaught, Dice Masters, Heroclix, and the other entertaining games made by WizKids. I'm WizDad, that one unusual Heroclix set that was really cool thematically, but didn't really hit its mark in the competitive scene. I will be your guide for navigating the competitive and casual scenes of the WizKids Triforce of gaming. It's Heroclix Friday. Today, I will be talking all things Iconix by going over all the figures that have been released and talking about where they fall into the playability of the competitive scene and the casual scene. But first, we have some key Heroclix news we need to talk about in the WizKids Progress Report.
Kowalski, Progress Report.
Alright, so today on the Progress Report, we definitely have some solicit news to talk about. Since last week, it looks like Wheels of Vengeance has been pushed forward, and we got confirmation of that in the Scott Porter videos, which have recently, for whatever reason, started on a Thursday, but have recently came out. He recorded those back in September, but even then he noted that the set was set to release in November, with pre-releases in the end of October, which works, honestly, because pre-releases could still fit in for Halloween, and then the set releases in November. Currently, the set is set to release November 8th, which is good. I've seen around the community people complaining about, which I don't know why you would complain about this, but having Notorious and Wheels of Vengeance so close back to back. But we have to keep in mind Notorious was delayed. It was originally set for August. It was pushed to September, so that's not really a it wasn't an original snafu of everything back to back. It was, August and then a October date. Made sense, a two-month span. Additionally, we did see the starter set, the Marvel starter set. Scott previewed that in his first video, so be sure to check that out on the WizKids YouTube page. And that starter set does have the 4 figures, and then I didn't know that I had no idea that the map that it comes with is the harder cardboard, but it's only 4 squares. I think I did know that, but so it's still the smaller map, but it's 4 pieces, and on one side is the park, the other side is blank. It is kind of a free reign, make your own map type of situation, which is great. We haven't had one of those in a while. Also comes with a new pack, which I'm eager to kind of see if anything has changed. I doubt it, but you never know. There might be some small cleanups that they've done. They kind of like to do that when a new pack comes around. But I know for sure I need a new pack. I don't have one that's current. I think I just have printed out the Spider-Man one. Additionally, that means October is looking a little light. The starter set, though, does come out the 18th, so in a couple weeks, the starter set will be out for Marvel. The Bag of Spider-Man is still set to come out the 18th. Death of Superman, the Iconix, is still coming out in a week, the 11th, which we'll talk more about that in Fishing with WizDad. One thing I will mention, I feel like this was originally slated for December. The single figure displays, which they did not talk about at all at Worlds or any of that. The 3-pack of those are set for November 1st, which is awesome. Now, I've seen a lot of things on Facebook about people buying those shot glass displays that you can find at like Hobby Lobby or Michael's, and those are cool. I'm actually thinking about getting one of those. But also the single figure displays seems pretty neat also at the right price point. So I'm surprised they haven't done a little bit more plugging of that, all things considered. But those are set to come out November 1st too, knock on wood. So yeah, so some changes. Wheels of Vengeance got pushed, but I know a lot of people were happy about that. For me, as long as things come out in October, like it's a set that's really more horror, mystical themed, so it makes sense for Halloween for that to happen, because I know a lot of stores like us do Halloween events, and so it would make sense, right, to do this set around Halloween, so that way you can at least do some sealed or do a big event around it. And I know pre-release would allow that, so I'm hoping they do hit for pre-release. I'm hoping your store can plan for that, do a fun Halloween themed event. I know what we like to do is we do something called candy probs, where you could bring in candy and you basically donate candy to do a game. It's like a global prob, and then we donate all that candy. So it's not like we sit there and eat it. We donate it to either a church or some organization. I don't know, someone who takes candy for kids for Halloween. So that way, and we do the same thing for Thanksgiving. We donate the food. We do canned probs where we bring in canned food, we donate it, and then we take all of that to the local food bank or community kitchen or anything like that to, still help out, still be donating, but also play and have some fun. So consider that. We still got plenty of Heroclix to go. We've still got Iconix, which we're about to talk about in the Fishing with WizDad segment. But it's still an exciting month. Maybe not as exciting, but a lot of people are still trying to hunt down Notorious. So that's okay, right? But now let's go ahead and get into Fishing with WizDad, because I'm going to break down all the Iconix. I think what's getting lost in all of these releases is that we keep getting more and more Iconix, and sometimes I forget certain things have already been released. So let's go by and talk about all of the Iconix that have been released. Go through every dial and talk about, do you need to own it for playing purposes? Or is something more of just a display? Because some figures might be better as a display. So let's talk about that.
Get your gear, little man. We're going fishing. And I mean now.
Heroclix Iconix was an interesting concept when it was first introduced last year. I remember them showing at Worlds or maybe Nationals, showing the Wolverine in the bed, holding the picture, and then the Spider-Man and the Thanos and all that, and it was really, really exciting. The concept being, of course, that it was snippets of famous scenes in comic book or movie history. It was a cool concept, and it is a concept that has effectively exploded. From what we gathered from Nationals is that Iconix is selling incredibly well, so much so that I feel like last year when we came out of Heroclix the Worlds, there was kind of a little bit of a negative mood of, okay, what direction is Heroclix going? But then Iconix, I guess, made up for it, and now they're investing even more into Heroclix because I guess it's just a better product now because of Iconix. But the thing I think that remains lost is the fact that I haven't seen anybody play Iconix in person. I've seen maybe one or two pieces from the Batman one that we'll talk about, but because they're being released effectively once a month is how they're doing it now, that's easy to get lost in the wide world of Heroclix. We're used to like a new set every 3 weeks or an OP kit or this. Now we're getting kind of flooded with Heroclix, which is awesome, right? But it's a little hard to figure out which ones you need to own and which ones you don't. With Iconix, add that to the OP kits we're already getting that have been coming back, the sets, all the extra stuff, the calendar. I personally don't own any Iconix, and I think part of that is because, let's see how to explain it. My local just didn't really order any to begin with. That's kind of on us. We usually let our local store know, hey, let them know to, order this. But we didn't because we just didn't know. I think the release dates got a little fuzzy. So let's start things off with the first Heroclix. And I will say, I might get these out of order, but the first one I believe was the pointing Spider-Man. And that's the two Spider-Man pointing at each other. Now, we are getting a re-release of these sculpts in the bag of Spider-Man. But the main thing of these two figures is that they do something a little unusual. So we have the 001, which is that man's an imposter. At the beginning of your turn, choose a direct line away from Spider-Man and orient him so he's pointing at the line. Whenever Spider-Man is moved or placed, he remains pointing along that direct line. The closest other character within the line of fire that occupies the last direct line that Spider-Man chose to point in can use shape change. If they can already use shape change, increase the result of the roll for shape change by +1. Cool. Then he's got another trait, Shape Change Sidestep. When Spider-Man uses Shape Change, if one or more other characters named Spider-Man are on the map, once per turn you may reroll the result. And then he's got an Outwit, that if he uses it to outwit a standard power, he can use the chosen power. He's 45 points, charge, in cap, outwit. That special outwit isn't until his last 3 clicks, so he's 5 clicks for 45 points. And he's a team player. The whole where he's pointing and that person gets shape change is kind of neat. The problem is it's a little tricky because you have to make sure he's always pointing down the line, and you have to make sure the person you want to have shape change is in line. And it's the closest other character within the line that occupies the last red line that Spider-Man chose. So it doesn't say friendly, so an opposing could get in the way and suddenly have shape change. So I don't love it. That's probably why it hasn't seen much play. But let's see about the other Spider-Man real quick. There's the opposite one that also has a similar trait called That Man's an Imposter. Exact same worded trait. So he still gives the same thing for both of them. Just the dials are different. This one is, once again, the 002. This one's Avengers. The other one was Magia, so I guess the 002 is the real Spider-Man. Oh, it literally has next trait. The real Spider-Man. Leap, climb, sidestep. If no other characters named Spider-Man are on the map, Spider-Man gets sidestep twice. That's neat. Then he has a movement power that he gets on click 2. Plasticity. Opposing characters within range and line of fire must roll breakaway as if they were adjacent to Spider-Man. Once again, 45 points, 5 clicks. Charge, in cap, super senses. This time he's got the Spider-Man TA, so that's a super senses. And he's got perplex. Once again, you kind of run into that same problem with shape change, where if someone gets in between you, they technically get that shape change. So that's a little spooky. So I could see why these haven't really seen any play outside of maybe the kitchen table, right? Or playing at a local, event just to kind of get the dust off of them. But they're okay. Like that's a cool concept how they did it. But you probably want a little bit more oomph if you're going to try to play them at even some local events, at least in my opinion. Up next, we have the 003, and I'm just going to go through the Marvel, and then I'll jump over to DC. Up next, you have the 003 Wolverine. Has Alpha Flight, Weapon X, and X-Men. This is the Wolverine laying on the bed looking at a picture of what should have been Scott Summers, but is, I guess, Jean Grey. With the trait, he's 45 points, 6 clicks, pining after Jean. When Wolverine starts the game, choose another friendly character to be his crush. At the end of your turn, if Wolverine's crush is within 2 squares, you may heal Wolverine 2 clicks. If Wolverine's crush is not within 2 squares, all other characters within 2 squares modify their attack and damage -1. Okay. Raw. Another trait. Blades, Claws, Fangs. Once per game when Wolverine uses it, before rolling, you may choose to increase the result by +1 for each character with X-Men team ability in your KO area. Okay. And then movement ability, which he has the whole dial. Locked in his room. Sidestep. Wolverine can only be targeted by characters within 2 squares. Okay. So he does have some survivability because of that. Effectively like a dolphin symbol, but he has to be closer. But that can be outwitted once someone gets closer. Now he's not unique. No, I think all these Iconix, he specifically is unique. So you can't play multiple of them. You could technically move him up a bit. And I guess if they do come in to 2 squares to attack him, if his crush is not within 2 squares, they'll have -1 attack and damage. Problem I have is he doesn't really have a reducer. He doesn't have a rollout. He just has combat reflexes. He can heal if the crush is nearby, but that requires a little bit of extra stuff. Now, the whole Blades thing, I feel like the whole Blades thing is just kind of a... Let's see, how would I phrase this? It's a neat thing to have. So, it's not necessarily something you want to just kind of bet on because it does require you to have some KO'd X-Men team ability people, and you don't really want to ever have to rely on an ability that requires you to KO your own people. I will say he's more potential, like more event potential. Like I would raise him up a tier from just kitchen play to, you know, maybe some local play. He is a peanut base, so take that with what you will. But being able to only be targeted close, like man, there might be something there, but most likely we're talking local events. You know, if there's an X-Men night or something, you can play Wolverine. There's nothing wrong with that. Up next is I guess Marvel Iconix 004 Thanos. Black Order Eternal Minions of Thanos, Cosmic Deity, Monster Ruler. Monster? That's cool. He has a trait free. Choose the standard power on Thanos' card. Thanos can use the chosen power to your next turn. He has 150 points. He's got a beefy dial. But he kind of falls onto some weird clicks. The big trait that he has is Snap, because this is the MCU one where he snaps his finger and half the people go away. Spoilers. When Thanos takes damage, give him a gem token for each click of damage taken. Power. And then 2/ power. Once per game, remove 6 gem tokens from Thanos. If you do, each player divides their opponent's forces character cards into 2 piles. Each player then chooses a pile of their own forces cards. Deal 3 unavoidable damage to all characters other than Thanos whose cards are in the chosen pile. So this is very wonky, but basically once you get 3 damage, he takes damage, so he takes 3. You can use his power, take their cards, which some teams are only like 4 characters. So, and it doesn't say whether they're face up or face down. So you just, well, I guess you can't really not hide them because there's dials or there's stuff on the front and back. So you would kind of know. But basically you take the force, you divide them into 3 piles, and then you get to choose one. Your opponent divides them into 3 piles. You choose one to deal the 3 damage to. That's a cool like way to work in the snap mechanic that he does. They do 3 piles instead of 2. So that way it's still like a little bit more of randomization, hence what the snap did. But he's not amazing. Like he's not bad for 150. Now that we're in a world without a ton of power erasers, he's not bad. He starts with a 12, 19, 3, sidestep, pensai, invincible, and range combat expert, and a 6 range dual target. So he's not bad, right? Like 13 for 4 dual target is pretty good. He's got power cosmic, obviously, but when he gets to like click 4, it becomes phasing, steal energy, invulnerable, and range combat expert. He has 1 stock click on click 10, which he has no powers but perplex, and you have to deal him effectively 6 damage to really get those. Now he does have steal energy 3, 4, 5, and 6. But that has to be from close. So his dial doesn't help him in this case. Now there is some nuances you could do with like the pool of lava that you could play and kind of, because it doesn't say damage from an attack. It just says when he takes damage. So you could try to work with that to deal maybe some damage to him. So that way you could kind of build up those gems, and then maybe you could just heal him back up. But, you know, he is a big character. He is something that could definitely see play in local play 100% at 150 points. But competitively, even trying to get to the point where you can snap, I'm trying to think of how many characters would just die from snap. There's a decent amount, I guess, because there's a decent amount of, you know, lower point figures. Like, I believe Mephisto would just poof, right? I think he's 3 clicks. He might be 4. You have, you know, getting through some Killmongers, taking them down 3 clicks would be nice. You know, you have still some retail, some support. Flash is gone, so you don't have to worry about that. It'd be interesting to see this work, but I'm not fully convinced it can. But I feel like definitely better competitively than the other 3 pieces we've talked about. Now, we did get a little bit of a spoiler at Worlds for the upcoming Iron Man Hall of Armors. I could go in and talk about the 005, which is kind of the old. Like he built this in a, I think he built this in a cave, or maybe it's just the first Iron Man set figure. But basically, it is a 005, 80 points, Avengers Stark Industries armor past scientist. It has the trait Shifting Focus. Woohoo! Hall of Armors. The woohoo is not in there. I added that in there if you weren't clear. I'm just happy because I loved Shifting Focus. I always thought it was a great mechanic. I played a lot of Shifting Focus. Free, if Iron Man began your turn on the map, replace him with another character with this trait on the same click number. If you did, after resolutions, you may generate a character with this trait from your sideline on click 11 adjacent to the replacement character. This game, the generated character can't use this trait and isn't scored when KO'd. So that's really neat. Each one of these is going to have a click 11. Now, they're probably not going to be really that great, but think of it as he's switching armors. So this armor is left behind. So in this example, this Iron Man's 80 points. You could probably assume they're all 80 because when you replace, ideally they need to be. He is a charge invulnerability exploit. He has a attack power, Blades, Claws, Fangs, Giant Reach 4. When Iron Man uses Blades, Claws, Fangs, if the target has Masters of Evil, increase the result +1. Cool. And then from click 4 through 8, and on the 11 click, he has Rapid Innovation, a special damage power, Perplex. When Iron Man uses it to target a character with armor or robot keyword, after resolutions, heal that character 1 click if it is friendly, or deal the character 1 penetrating damage if it is opposing. So that's really good too. There's a decent amount of good armor pieces. But 80 point, I like a beefier, like Shifting Focus. I know we had the Shifting Focus Batman. The Superman back in the day was really, really good. And then we had, there was a big thing with Shifting Focus for a while. I know in the Avengers Defenders War, that's when they went a little too crazy. We got like the Punishers, the Doctor Stranges, the Electras, and they kind of lost the mark because they were all kind of doing certain things. Like those Doctor Stranges were good, but I'm pumped about this. This is one of the Iconix I think I've pre-ordered, but if not, I'm making sure I pre-order because I love Shifting Focus. I also love Avengers, even without the swap. So yeah, I'm really pumped about this. I can't wait to see the rest of them. This is definitely an Iconix I think that will crack the meta because 80. Once again, I like 10 points per click. Like if a figure has 10 points per click, I generally feel like it's a well-built figure. If it's less than that, they've got to have some power, something significant to make it better. Like Circarian Iron Man. Circarian Iron Man had enough clicks, so that's a moot point. Either way, I like at least 10 points per click, 80 points for 8 clicks, great. And then you shift out of it and you effectively get another character that's just 1 click and isn't scored. So that's great. I love it. I can't wait to have more of it. Now let's hop over to DC. DC has definitely gotten more Iconix. Well, I won't say more. They've gotten, what, three full sets at this point? One of them is releasing this in a week, but we'll go ahead and talk about that because we know all the figures in it. But first, let's start with DC Batman 001. Now, this is the Bane Batman set. Believe it or not, this set came out first. The Slapping Batman came out second, which I thought the Slapping Batman came out first, funny enough. But this is the Bane breaking Batman's back. What is it? It's not the Death of Batman, but it's, I forget the name of the set. But this Batman, to start with, 001, 60 points. The Battle for Gotham's Soul. When an opposing character that can't use Batman team ability heals, after resolutions, you may heal Batman 1 click. This trait can be used while Batman is off the map. Cool. Why is that relevant? When Batman would be KO'd, except by this trait, instead turn him to click 8, that would mean there's a KO click in between. Place him on this card. At the beginning of your turn, if Batman is on this card and no other friendly characters have Batman team ability, KO him. Otherwise, if he's not on a KO click, you may place him adjacent to a friendly character that has Batman team ability, Protective Pulse Wave. Cool. So he basically can't die unless you don't have Batman team ability. Leadership Perplex. When Batman uses leadership and succeeds, he may also generate a bystander on this card into a square within range. The bystanders on this card have max 1. And then he has a special damage power. Batman's close attacks deal penetrating damage and can't be evaded. So right now, I'm just looking. This Batman's awesome. Like, he creates bystanders. He can't die as long as you have, like, Batman team ability, which you can mitigate that, right? With team player and a bunch of stuff. So he can't die. The only way he heals and comes back is if an opposing character heals, which we have a lot of healing. Black Lanterns are here. Carnage Silver Surfer's here. Mephisto MOEs are here. Like, he landed in the best time for opponents' characters to heal. And he makes these bystanders. And these bystanders are great. Let's go over some of them. First off, we've got Alfred Pennyworth. He's kind of an 18 defense support piece. That's not bad. He's got Energy Explosion, too, with a 9 attack. That's funny. Then you got Nightwing. He's a charge, quake piece, super senses, solid. Oracle, sidestep, autonomous. Well, I haven't seen autonomous in a while. Smoke cloud and prop. Awesome. And then you have Robin, who is a running shot in cap with combat reflexes. So all of them are solid. There's not really one that doesn't do something, right? And if he hits the leadership, you just get to make one, and it's a max 1, but that means if one of them goes, then you just make another one. I like that. It's because he could do other things even if he doesn't hit the leadership. So you could give him, he starts with the Bat Belt, so give him the Bat Belt, he could do stuff. I actually really like this Batman. I think this Batman is definitely playable. It really depends on if you could get Batman Ally, the team ability out there, which I think you could. Then you've got Bane, who's got Arkham Asylum, Gotham City Underworld, Brute, Batman Enemy, team ability, he's number 2. Venom Injection, Bane begins the game on click 7. Free, roll a d6, heal Bane equal to the result. If the result was 3 through 6, give Bane an overdose token. Bane may heal past his starting line this way. At the end of your turn, deal Bane 1 unavoidable for each overdose token he has. So he starts out on like a stealth TK click with a special damage power Outwit. When he uses it, he may draw a line of fire and count range from a square of a friendly character that shares a keyword with him. Ooh, that's interesting. And then he has a trade, combat reflexes, willpower. I will break him, is what it's called. When Bane KOs an opposing character or succeeds a willpower roll, remove an overdose token from him. So 75 points, starting him at click 7. That's only 4 clicks. He's got the stealth and the super senses, so it's a little scary to keep him down that low. But he has 6 more clicks you can heal up. And you heal equal to the result. And he could just heal the whole game. There's nothing that prevents him from doing that free action. And he's 75 points. I actually really like this Bane also, especially with Gotham City Underworld being better. He might be a good starting point, especially since he can do Outwit from anywhere that with a friendly character that shares a keyword. So keep him back and then slowly move him up and start healing him, because he does immediately go to charge, 8, 11, 18 defense, 11 attack, 3 damage, but it's close combat, so 12 for 4 just from healing up 1. And if you magically hit 6, he gets an overdose token, but he's hitting 14 for 5. And he's only 75. 75 is not bad. I like Bane. So far, I think this set is definitely a step up from the other ones we've been talking about. I think both of these are playable, especially with Notorious being out. Azrael has Batman Family, Gotham City Underworld, Armor, Assassin, and Mystical. Terrorizing Gotham, he's 65 points. Sidestep, opposing characters with the highest point value on their force can't draw lines of fire to Azrael. If it's multiple opposing characters are tied, none of them can draw a line of fire to Azrael. Then another trait, Willpower, when he uses it and succeeds, choose one to last until he chooses again. Damage he deals can't be reduced below 1, and when he attacks after resolutions, heal him 1 click for each hit character. That's okay. Then he has an attack power, Smoke Cloud. Smoke Cloud is free, but only generate 2 markers at the end of your turn. Deal 1 damage to each opposing character, occupying terrain markers generated by Azrael. That's all okay. I don't think he's honestly that great because his powers are bad. He starts with Leap Climb, and then he goes to Flurry. I know he has Sidestep, which is like baby's first move and attack. But I don't know if I'm a huge fan. The Smoke Cloud, dealing 1 at the end of the turn to anyone within the terrain marker. Cool. Like, that's neat. But is it worth that just to get him up there to potentially do nothing? I'm not sure about that. So I think that's it for that Batman set. Really, it's just Batman and Bane. Not a big fan of the Azrael. I've seen Azrael played more though for some reason. I don't honestly get it. I don't think he does enough for 65 points, but maybe I'm wrong. Now we get to the slapping Batman and Robin. Batman 55 points. He's got Batman ally and Superman enemy. That's interesting. Oh, pretending to be Superman's friend. That's right. 55 points, interrupting slap. Once per turn when an adjacent opposing character is given an action, you may immediately roll a d6, 4 through 6. That action has no effect. And after resolutions, deal that character 1 damage. That's funny. So they're trying to do any sort of action, and it's once per turn. You immediately roll 4 through 6, they don't get to do it. So it's kind of like a opposite of Killmonger. And they take 1 damage. That's funny. Trait, shape change. Traded shape change. Then he's got an attack, powerful slap, free, knockback an adjacent opposing character or an adjacent friendly character with Batman family keyword. Friendly characters knockback this way don't take knockback damage. So it's like a pseudo TK if you really want to. Charge, he's got that attack, 18 combat reflexes, exploit, 55 points. It's okay. As good as that effect may be, and Superman enemy is good, Batman ally giving him stealth. I don't know. That's a little tough with just combat reflexes. He does have shape change. I would say maybe. It would be, you would need some nuance with that to really be able to play that well. He's got Superman Revenge Squad keyword. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, it's okay. I don't think it's probably not going to hit that the meta, I guess you could say the competitive scene. But who knows? Maybe someone can maximize the potential of that slap. Then you've got Robin, 45 points. Batman ally, team player. Hypnotize and return to the orphanage. The first time Robin would be KO'd, instead turn him to click 6. And he's got a special click 6. He's got 4 clicks and then a special click 6. Return to the orphanage. Sorry, that just clicked with me. That's really funny. Look at the papers. Superman beat Brainiac. Plasticity. When Robin is knocked back, if his knockback path is stopped by an opposing character, give that character an action token. Cool. He kind of combos with the Batman. Don't hit me, I'm just a kid. This is only on click 6. It's a special defense power. When Robin is KO'd by an opposing character, after resolutions, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. He's got sidestep, incap, super senses, perplex. Probably not seeing play. Even on his click 6, it's not that great. So no, you could probably pass on this like 2-person set unless you really want. Once again, I'm saying this purely from competitive or play standpoint. These are gorgeous looking sculpts. They're hilarious. They're great. They're great to put on your shelves in those little cases I was talking about earlier. So this one's kind of just a purchase to put on your wall or to play hilariously in a local event. And then finally, we're not going to talk about the Sherlock ones because there's other waiting to be released for that. But let's go through the Superman ones because I think those are very interesting. The Death of Superman. We're going to start with 006 Superman. 160 or 35 points. A trait, unique modifier. When Superman is KO'd, each friendly character that shared a keyword with him modifies their defense +1 this game. Protective Pulse Wave. He's got a special movement power, Hypersonic Plasticity. He's got that on click 1 and on his lower click at 35. Defensive power. Special defensive power, he only has the top dial and the subsequent 2 clicks. Invincible. When a character attacks, if they could target Superman, they must, and cannot target other characters, protected outwit. So that's interesting. So he kind of defers attacks to him, and he's a 19 invincible. That's not easy to hit. My only problem with that is that he has 3 clicks on click 35, which is just hypersonic and nothing else. But then you're paying 125 points for those 5 extra clicks and that kind of diverting attack, which still isn't great. The fact that he could be, I mean, that defensive power can't be outwitted, which is nice, but you can outwit that hypersonic, which is not nice. I don't know how playable that is at 160. That's a lot of your build to give up for that. So I'm going to say no. It's more of a kitchen table, maybe local fun event type of thing. We've got Doomsday next, Kryptonian, Superman, Revenge Squad, Brute Monster, Power Cosmic, and Superman Enemy TAs. He's got a 300, 175, and 125 points. So this is a beefy Doomsday, which is honestly what he needs. Doomsday starts with a restraint token. If Doomsday has a restraint token, he takes a maximum of 1 damage from attacks. When an opposing character attacks Doomsday with an attack, instead of dealing normal damage, they may choose to remove the restraint token. If they do, Doomsday can use Flurry this game. So he only takes 1 damage, and the only way you can remove that is by hitting him and then choosing to remove the restraint token. That's interesting. And then at that point, he gets Flurry. Ooh, I like that. Then he's got another trait, Battle Fury. At the beginning of the game, choose a keyword. This game, Doomsday modifies his attack and damage +1 when attacking 1 or more opposing characters with the chosen keyword. That's pretty good. He's got special movement power for his first 6 clicks. When Doomsday is given a move in capital action after resolutions, he may be given a close as free. Okay. That's interesting. So it's not exactly charge, because you don't, it's like a bigger charge because you have an 11 movement. So you get to kind of, get out there quite a bit more. Huh. And then big close, so that allows you to do Flurry if they remove the restraint. So you can big move and then Flurry. I don't hate that at all. That is actually pretty good. Besides that, what dials? He's got stop clicks throughout. He's got 4 stop clicks total. If you play him at 125, he gets 2 of those stop clicks. 125 might be the best spot for him. Yeah, that might be the best spot for him to fit him. I wouldn't say negative things if you played him at 300. 300, he's 13 for 6, a 20 defense, invincible. He is a giant, so he has all the benefits of a giant, so he's removing tokens pretty quickly. He's got the Battle Fury, so he gets through shape change, and he could just move across the map and Flurry if they remove it, or just hit you 13 for 6. And if he chooses his keywords right, which it's a keyword, not team ability, like some other things, if you're a theme team, he could just hit your whole team for 14 for 7. And he only takes 1 damage unless you remove the restraint, at which point he flurries you. I like Doomsday. Doomsday has potential. He might even have potential at 170. Like, each point value might have potential. 175, he gets an additional stop click for 50 points. He becomes a 12 for 4 at that point. He only has Quake, so no super strength, which I didn't even mention super strength on his click 1. He has that movement power. Hey, I like Doomsday a lot. If you're going 10 poles, I know it's a little spooky to play him at 300 in today's age with, the stop sign and whatnot. But I don't hate it. Like, I really don't. Especially since he can be given a move action for free. Or, sorry, move action and after resolutions make a close for free. I don't hate it. If they can fix the stop sign, maybe he will see more play. Let's move on to Steel, number 008. 85 points, 50 points, keeping the streets safe when all characters with this trait. For all characters with this trait, when an equipped opposing character is KO'd, score 10 victory points. So, additional 10 for whoever equipped person you take out. When Steel uses a close/range destroy action, opposing terrain markers can't use indestructible. Interesting. I'm trying to think of how often that comes up. But sure. Steel can reduce penetrating damage when he succeeds on a d6 roll. This is a trait. If a friendly character with Superman ally has been KO'd this game after resolutions heal in one click, he's kind of just a charge piece. At 85, he gets the Hammer Time special attack power. When he hits after resolutions, hit opposing characters gain immobile until your next turn. 12 for 4, 85 points, but it's just charge. Yeah, I think you could probably pass on Steel, if I'm being honest. Cyborg Superman 009, 185, 75, and 40. These are some beefy dials, guys. A trait, free, choose a non-debris terrain marker that is either within range or held by a character within range and remove that marker from the game. If you do, he can use regen as free. Cool. He's got traded shape change. If a friendly character with a Superman ally has been KO'd, he can count range and lines of fire from squares of characters that are equipped or have the robot keyword. When Cyborg Superman attacks this way, characters take a maximum of 2 damage. Okay. Table that for a second. He's got a special defense power on click on his higher point dial on the 185. Impervious. At the beginning of your turn, Cyborg Superman may generate blocking terrain in a square within range. Cool. And then he's got a Outwit special damage power that is on a 75 point click. Outwit, when Cyborg Superman uses it to target a character with the robot keyword, he may instead choose 2 powers. So this is the Scarab Light figure, because, once again, that Man of Tomorrow, if a friendly character with Superman ally has been KO'd, so someone has to be KO'd, but if they are, he can draw lines of fire from squares of characters that are equipped or have the robot keyword, and then he deals, or characters take maximum of 2 damage, which is better than Scarab. But you have to lose something with Superman ally, which is kind of hard to do, but with pools of lava, that's possible, right? So you could draw lines of fire and hit people from there. That's pretty good too. You don't get the equipment copying that Scarab does, but this figure is definitely notable. I mean, it's something that you have to keep in mind. He has a 40-point dial, so being able to kind of do energy explosion from range, from wherever. If you can find a reliable Superman ally to KO, and it might be something cheap that has team player that you could take out as well, with like a pool of lava or something like that, then he's definitely got potential. So Cyborg Superman is one you probably want to keep an eye on. Superboy at number 10, 55 points. When opposing character targets Superboy without Wood or Perplex to your next turn, he can use Battle Fury and Close Combat Expert. Okay, that's protected Outwit. That's neat. He's got traded Flurry. When he knocks back one or more opposing characters, if a friendly character with Superman ally has been KO'd this game, choose a character he knocked back and he may immediately place himself in a square adjacent to them. Cool. And then he's got a special defense power, energy shield deflection, and invincible. And he has team player and Superman ally. Not bad for 55 points, but because he could be outwitted, I feel like he would just die pretty quickly. So even if you get that Battle Fury Close Combat, they outwit you, and you're like, cool, I got Battle Fury and Close Combat Expert. I'm a 12 for 5 now. Flurry, charge. But then they outwit your defense power and just hit you for 5 and you're dead. So he's not bad. It's just, can he survive the getting outwitted? Eradicator is number 11. Brutal Enforcement. When Eradicator KOs an opposing characters modify their attack -1 until their next turn. That's cool. Traded Pensai. He's got improved targeting, blocking, but only if a friendly character with Superman ally has been KO'd this turn. So all these characters are feeding off the fact that Superman gives him +1 defense when he's being KO'd. So like you could play Superman at 35, send him out there, get KO'd, they all get +1 defense, and then they all do extra things. Like they're all thematically built around that. He has a special defense power, which you probably won't see because it's near the end of his dial. Super Senses, regen is free, but only if he is in your starting area. I don't know if he really sees that much play. 120 is a lot for someone who could be outwitted. He's okay, but probably passable. We've got 2 more to go. We've got 0-12. I don't know why I said 0-12, but we got 12, Superman. He has a sideline active ability. When a friendly character that can use Superman ally is KO'd, after resolutions, if Superman is on your sideline, give him a resurrection token and roll a d6. Add the number of resurrection tokens to the result. If it's 6+, generate Superman from your sideline into the last square the friendly character occupied on his 50-point dial. His 50-point dial is pretty good, to be honest. His 50-point dial, well, he doesn't have a movement power, so maybe I spoke too soon. But he does have Energy Explosion, ESD, and Enhancement, and then he has a stop click that makes him back into Superman. If the special defense power, the stop click, is if Superman is 90 points. Okay, so you wouldn't get this for him being brought in. Stop. It does have Impervious. When this power is first revealed, for the rest of the game, Superman has flight and can't be healed above this click. Cool. So his sideline active means that I believe you could just play him on your sideline, right? So there's no reason you couldn't just put him on your sideline and then when someone's KO'd, bring him in. So, or obviously Superman ally. When he's at 90, he gets a giant power. He gets the giant. He turns into a giant. He takes a maximum of 1 damage from opposing attacks. That's okay, but it's only sidestep Quake. It's not that great. So definitely playable on your sideline because he'll come in at 50 and then be relatively decent. Last but not least, we got Supergirl, number 13, 75, 50 points. Team Luthor, Outwit. When Superman uses Team Player, if a friendly character with Superman ally has been KO'd this game, she may instead choose a copyable or uncopyable team ability an opposing character can use, so that she can take Power Cosmic if you want. When Supergirl is KO'd, choose a friendly character. This game, the chosen character has Flight, Superman ally, and can use Shape Change. That's solid. And then Matrix. Choose one to use until your next turn. If Superman is 75 points, choose two instead. ESD, Super Senses, and TK. So all of that's not bad. Pick a power with okay powers, ESD, Super Senses, TK, so she can kind of help TK your Superman around. That's not bad. She's a traded Outwit, so she's okay, I guess. I don't know. It really depends on how many Superman allies we really have. In Notorious, we really only got the Supermen themselves. We did get the Rainbow Superman, Con LE, and then Batman Team Up has 4. Has Superman, no, it has 3. Sorry, there's a Team Up card, threw me off. Has the Common Superman, Power Girl, and then World's Finest. World's Finest might be your best bet to play some of these figures with, because World's Finest is really good. And if it gets KO'd at 60, that means you can bring out the deceased Superman, and then that would technically activate some of these other ones like Cyborg Superman. There might be something there with that. It's not a bad set overall. I like this Iconix. So right now, if I were to just kind of give a closing response to all of this, the Marvel ones, the Marvel Iconix right now are a miss for me outside of Iron Man, which we don't know all of yet. So the Thanos, Wolverine, Spider-Man, they're okay. They were kind of the first, the groundbreaking Iconix, and then they stepped up their game for the DC ones. DC, get the I don't know what it's called. I still should have looked it up. The Batman with the Bane. Get that one. Absolutely. Some really good figures in that. You could skip Batman and Robin, the slapping Batman. But Death of Superman seems pretty solid as well. That Doomsday is great. Some of the Superman pieces are good as well. You'll probably want them. And Doomsday like I said, it's Kryptonian, Superman Revenge Squad, Brute, and Monster. So, like, Monster's a pretty good keyword right now. Put him at 75 with some other pieces, and Doomsday could go to town. And he's got Brute, so he does the whole Dark Phoenix thing as well. So that's going to do it for this episode of G-Wiz. Thank you for listening in, going through some Iconix with me. We'll probably do this again in a couple months when we get all of the Hall of Armors, and then peek into some of the other ones that we may get down the line. But until then, I'll see you guys on Monday for Dice Masters Monday, and you guys have a great weekend.